Hey everyone, it's Skiesti. Mercy has a lot of hero-specific settings, and it can be confusing to know what each of them does, and what ones you should be using. I'll be guiding you through all of them today and sharing which ones I use. All of my Mercy settings are optimized for what I feel gives the most control and versatility over Mercy's movements. My settings are Toggle Beam Connection off, Toggle Guardian Angel off, and Guardian Angel Target Priority as Prefer Facing Target. I'd recommend these settings, but if they don't work for you, feel free to try out our other settings, which I'll explain now. Toggle Beam Connection. By default, Toggle Beam Connection is off. Toggle Beam Connection is the one Mercy setting that's kinda just preference, although if it's paired with a GA target setting like Prefer Beam Target, you would have to disconnect your beam to fly to someone that's not your beam target, and that's pretty bad. Toggle Beam Connection on. Tap either of your mouse buttons to heal or damage boost. To disconnect your beam, you can't just let go of the button. You have to do one of the following. Look away and click a mouse button to disconnect. Melee, leave beam range, or swap your weapon. Most Mercy players that use this setting use it to reduce fatigue if you're playing for long periods of time. The setting feels pretty clunky though, at least to me, when it comes to connecting and disconnecting the beams. And it can be easy to attach your beam and forget about it, which could lead to healing full health allies instead of instinctively swapping to damage boost once they're full. Toggle Beam Connection off. Hold down either of your mouse buttons to heal or damage boost. Beam can be easily disconnected by simply letting go of the button. I use Toggle Beam Connection off, and I find that it's much more responsive and quick when it comes to swapping beam targets. It feels like there's more control with this setting off. Also, if an ally dies, your beam will automatically go to the next available target, whereas with it on, your beam will just stop. Toggle Guardian Angel. By default, Toggle Guardian Angel is on. Both Toggle Guardian Angel settings activate immediately when a valid target is found, which means you can hold down Guardian Angel the moment someone comes into your line of sight and have it activate. Toggle Guardian Angel on. Tap Guardian Angel once to fly, and again to stop. The drawback of Toggle Guardian Angel on is that it requires a secondary input, which is tapping Guardian Angel again to stop, which makes it harder to control, especially when you consider Guardian Angel's meter. However, they have made it so that if you're doing directional Guardian Angels, you're able to just Guardian Angel to your target and jump without tapping Guardian Angel again, so that's nice. Also, if you're spamming the ability for some reason, chances are you'll end up putting it on a cooldown if you press it twice by accident, and then you're gonna have to wait again to use it, and that sucks. Toggle Guardian Angel off. Hold down Guardian Angel to fly, and let go when you want to stop. I find that with this setting, it's much easier to control Guardian Angel since you're not required to press it again to stop your flight. I would recommend using Toggle Guardian Angel off, especially since, in Overwatch 2, it's pretty crucial to have quick reactive Guardian Angels. It's just more fluid with this setting. There's not really a downside to this setting, there's no reason not to use it. Guardian Angel Target Priority. By default, Guardian Angel Target Priority is Prefer Beam Target. Guardian Angel Target Priority has 3 different options, although there's one that is much better than the other 2. We'll get the first 2 out of the way, and then I'll tell you about the third one. Facing Target Only. Guardian Angel will only ever fly to the ally you're aiming at. Facing target only allows you to move between your teammates without having to disconnect your beam to fly to someone that's not your beam target. The downside of this setting is that if you're not looking at anyone, even if your beam is on someone, you're not able to Guardian Angel. You need to have line of sight on an ally to activate Guardian Angel. If you're a Mercy player that likes to hover over death pits, this might not be the setting for you. Prefer Beam Target. Guardian Angel will fly to your beam target if you have one, and if not, it will attempt to use the ally you're aiming at. Prefer Beam Target gives you the advantage of being able to Guardian Angel to your beam target if you're not looking at anyone. This means that you can hover over death pits or play behind things like walls and still be able to Guardian Angel as long as your beam is connected. The downside of this setting is that if you want to fly to someone who's not your beam target, you have to disconnect your beam temporarily so it doesn't just bring you back to your beam target. This will reduce your beam uptime, even if you become quick with detaching and then reattaching your beam between your Guardian Angels. It's an extra step you have to take that is just annoying, and why bother using Prefer Beam Target when Prefer Facing Target is right there? Speaking of, Prefer Facing Target. Guardian Angel will fly to the ally you're aiming at. If there's not one, it will attempt to use your beam target. Prefer Facing Target is a combination of the strengths of Facing Target Only and Prefer Beam beam target. It's the setting that I use and would highly recommend. There's pretty much no reason not to use it, seriously. If you're not using this setting, you're limiting yourself massively in what Guardian Angel is capable of doing. With prefer facing target, you can Guardian Angel to your beam target if you're not looking at anyone. You can also Guardian Angel to the ally you're looking at while your beam is on someone else. This solves both of the glaring downsides of the other two settings, and as a result, Guardian Angels are much more fluid and you have so much more control over your movement. You don't lose out on beam uptime like you would with prefer beam target, and you're not restricted to requiring to have line of sight of your allies or not being able to play over death pits or behind cover like you would using facing target only. The potential downside of this setting is that you need to be a bit more mindful with your Guardian Angel range. If you want to fly to someone who isn't your beam target and they're not quite in range, it'll take you back to your beam target. You'll be able to feel out the range on it the more you use it, so if you find this is happening, be patient, you'll get the hang of it. I just can't stress enough though how much you should be using this setting, especially in Overwatch 2, where you need to be as flexible as possible with your movement and the Guardian Angel target options you have. It'll take time to get used to, but I am seriously encouraging you to change to this setting. Let's quickly go over sensitivity. Guardian Angel sensitivity. By default, Guardian Angel sensitivity is 100. The lower you have Guardian Angel sensitivity, the closer your crosshair has to be to your target to trigger Guardian Angel. And if the sensitivity is higher, your crosshair can be much further away. I personally have Guardian Angel sensitivity left at default 100, and would recommend setting it as high as you're comfortable with so that you don't have to be incredibly precise with your crosshair placement to Guardian Angel. Higher sensitivity gives you more leeway and more range on how close you have to be looking at an ally to trigger Guardian Angel. Beam sensitivity. By default, beam sensitivity is 100. Just like the previous sensitivity, the lower you have beam sensitivity, the closer your crosshair has to be to your target to activate the beam. And if the sensitivity is higher, your crosshair can be further away. I personally have beam sensitivity left at 100, but wouldn't recommend having it up that high. If you're struggling to target allies when they're grouped up close together, this setting is why. To fix that problem, turn down your beam sensitivity until you find one that's comfortable for you. Keybinds. Just in case anyone is curious about my specific keybinds, I have jump bound to space, Guardian Angel bound to shift, and crouch on both left control and mouse button 5. By the way, turn toggle crouch off. If you're having a problem where your super jumps are slow when you're descending, it's because angelic descent gets triggered by both crouch and jump. Turn toggle crouch off and you won't have this problem anymore. I'd recommend checking out my movement guide as it describes this problem as well and gets you started with all of Mercy's different movement tech. And that's all from me for now. Let me know in the comments if you have any further questions about Mercy's settings. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you next time.